As November comes to a close end here, it is time to be reviewing the statistics for December and what essentially we can look at throughout history to expect in December as far as returns go. And just a little bit of a spoiler before we get into it, December is, for whatever reason, one of the most volatile, if not the most volatile month for Bitcoin throughout its full history. I suspect that maybe that might be because, year-end closing positions, people doing like tax loss harvesting, these sort of things, could maybe play into that. I don't know. But ultimately, it is one of those times where very fun and exciting things do happen, whether you're looking for major upside moves or downside moves. Anyways, other than that, I'm going to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Sunday morning. At least that's what my computer says. It doesn't say that it's a nice Sunday morning. It just says Sunday morning. But before I say any more stupid shit, let's just jump right into it. Starting off right over here with the monthly view for Bitcoin. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put on my drawing tools, and you can see that all of these green vertical bars do correlate with past Decembers for Bitcoin. There are 13 past Decembers, and just looking at them, you do see that they do kind of line up with some of the bigger months throughout the history of Bitcoin. Now, what I have done over here on this spreadsheet is I've gone through all of those Decembers and measured the open to close, and then calculated, okay, was that a win, meaning that did it close positively or negatively? Positive for 1, negative for 0, and then recorded the percentage gain and loss divided by those as well. So with that said, out of 13 Decembers, 7 were closing positively, giving it just a slightly greater than 50% probability throughout the history of Bitcoin at 53.85. That doesn't sound too interesting, right? What does sound interesting, of course, and we'll revisit that one a little bit later, but what does sound interesting is that the win percentage. So when December did close positively, the average return was pretty fucking high, to be fair, 34.18%. All of these coming with like pretty decent double-digit returns, except for one. That would be the third December that Bitcoin ever saw, where it only gained about 7.5%. All of the other ones, 30, 40, 50% plus. So looking pretty good there. So it is one of the highest volatile months, especially when it comes to positive returns. When it comes to negative returns, a little bit less so. We can see that the negative return was just under 15%, basically, with most of those gains being actually around the single digits. Really, only one of those was an outlier here. That was in the 4th December for Bitcoin, where Bitcoin lost almost 40%. Other than that, hasn't really been as bad throughout the annals of history. So first things first, let's actually just go into the charts and play around with these numbers. We're going to revisit this and add some more nuance to it, because there's certainly some more nuance with this that I think is going to maybe be more of interest to you. But before that, again, let's just see, what if Bitcoin played out somewhere around these averages, which recently it actually has been meeting a lot of these averages, which is really, really interesting, at least to me. Maybe not you. Maybe I'm just a fucking TA nerd or just chart nerd, and fair enough. I mean, that's true. Anyways, if Bitcoin were to gain, what is it, like 35% from its current level, and again, we still have some days to go till the end of the month, but just kind of forecasting here, close somewhere around here, that would put Bitcoin at about $51,000. That is an interesting area to be aware of, because that actually is around the 786 Fibonacci retracement, which, we have seen a lot of rallies actually get somewhere between the 618 and the 786 pre-halving from the ultimate high to the ultimate low. But that's a topic for another video. Anyways, if we go back into it, what was the negative return? About negative 15%. So let's see, what would that look like if we took that away from current price action? That would put Bitcoin back down around about $32,000. Okay, fair enough. Possible, but I'll explain why. I'm not necessarily on that same side as of right now. And I think now's the time to be doing that. So something very interesting happened in this September. I'm sure many people out there are aware of the September statistic that nearly every September for Bitcoin is red, closes negatively. I believe there's only been like 4 or 5 in Bitcoin's history that did close positively. Actually, it is 5 indeed. So what I've done is I've actually gone through and measured what the returns were for December after September closed green, because there was like a whole thing with it. We did a video on this priorly with September closing green and then Q4 being mostly green. Now let's just zero in on December. And actually, sorry, I actually have I have it right here. So when September is green, again, there's 5 prior ones. What happened in December? Well, as you can see, out of 5 prior Decembers, 4 of those closed positively. One of those did close negatively, and it was massively negatively, I should say as well. It's like lost nearly 40%. So definitely not something to ignore, I suppose. That was in 2013. But for the other ones, 4 out of 5, giving it about 80% or exactly 80%. The win percentage or the average return for those winning months was just under 24%. And that is another interesting number right here, because if we were to add about 25% on the current price action, where that put Bitcoin, that'd put Bitcoin basically at around the March 2022 highs, where it did reject from, and obviously that was the bull trap of 2022, or the major bull trap of 2022, I'd say, on the macro scale. And so, we're starting to get some areas of interest here, perhaps long term. $47,000 would be kind of around that number, by the way, somewhere around there. It doesn't need to be exactly that number, but this is an area that would be very likely fraught with peril, just being that it is one of those major breakdown regions off of that bull trap, off of this rejected lower high right here, that first monthly lower high, the really, 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 really important one for the macro. So that would be a great place, at least in my opinion, that if Bitcoin were to get anywhere around here, really anywhere between like 45 or let's say like 44 to 47, that'd be a great place for a monthly pullback and consolidate lower and probably spend a few months, if not more, going to the downside or just trading sideways and down, as we like to say. So these 2 areas right here, I do think are still of significant interest. I almost said November, but December, still looking, at least in my opinion, or it's not my opinion. It's not even my opinion at all. It's fucking statistics. It is what it is. Do suggest that upside more likely. Fair enough. Okay. So I think that is really all that I have to say about that. Average loss, we could go over that as well. There's only been one time where we've seen that, but it was minus 40%. At that point, it's the biggest bull trap I've ever seen, and Bitcoin comes all the way back down to $23,000. It would literally look like this, by the way, too. Boom. That'd be one hell of a dildo, man. One fucking hell of a dildo. I don't necessarily think that's what's happening. Just my opinion right there. And yes, that is an opinion. Anyways, so other than that, we can also go back and check out the HPDR bands. I just wanted to note that they are consistently stepping up here as volatility has gone for that full contractive phase. We saw it level out over here just a few days ago. Now it is even getting more mature within this contraction phase. And I would be really saying that actually in this next week, so, December does start on Thursday or Friday, something like that. This next week, we could very easily see a move. I still think that there's still another few days of sideways probably, but this is starting to look very, very mature, kind of similar to what we did see, maybe not as crazy, but in what we did see in September. So, that read alongside essentially the HPDRO, which represents directional volatility, going back to neutral, does allow for and set up the boo laws yet again for upside continuation, especially, and I know that this is maybe not the best way to be using the HPDR, but it has been working. So it is something that I'm like constantly monitoring, but especially as long as price action remains above that white line that you see my cursor kind of tracing right now, that's just the median. And as long as Bitcoin's above there, it does seem to like to favor that direction with regards to the HPDR bands. Still, I think I need some more time with this to like really go into that. But from what I can see and what I've tested, historically speaking, that relationship does hold true more often than not, especially when volatility is looking like this. So it is what it is. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. We didn't talk about it today, but the Jewel Light, the daily statistics, the Oracle Pro, and several other things are all included in a nice little package, which you can find in the description below. They have a sale going on, more importantly, which is why I meant to talk about that, with code BF30, all capitals BF30, so you get 30% off. Not bad, and you get actually locked in that price as well. What else? What else can I show right now? I think that's it, man. Yeah. That's a good place to be leaving it off. The HPDR shield itself, it's amazing. It's my favorite tool. I'll just leave it at that, man. All right, cool. That's enough for today. As always, I want to be wishing you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.